Several local businesses and organizations were recognized during the Hazard-Perry County Chamber of Commerce meeting, some for being lifelines during the flood. And several hundred young women converged in Pike County to learn, grow, and become Eastern Kentucky strong.
Plus another sunny day on the way tomorrow, but will our good fortune last into the weekend? I'm breaking that down next as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
The Hazard-Perry County Chamber of Commerce handed out its 2022 Business Appreciation Awards, showcasing businesses and organizations for their impacts on our communities. But some awards were given to those who served as lifelines during the flood and after. WYMT's Dakota Makers reports.
Several businesses and organizations were honored for their roles in the Perry County community and region Thursday afternoon, like Hazard First Baptist Church, who received the Best Nonprofit Award for its work in flood relief.
We started immediately on mud outs, and we had people that were coming from Kansas with search dogs, rescue dogs, cadaver dogs, looking for people that have been swept away in the flood.
Since the flooding, the church has housed nearly 500 volunteers. Now the church members are working on rebuilding.
This foundation from Nashville is going to be sending a team in January. In February, we've got another team coming from Massachusetts. So we're seeing teams come from all parts of the country.
The Housing Development Alliance received the Best Community Service Award for its work since the flooding. The organization has mucked out homes and is starting to build new homes for those impacted by flooding.
Every one of our staff, I mean, they've worked incredibly long hours. We've asked them to do stuff they didn't sign up for.
Regardless of the awards, they say it is all about working as a community.
The need is so huge, and the city and the county really they set the example. I mean, they work together well, and then all the groups work together well, and it's what it's going to take.
Thinking of their communities as we continue to recover. In Perry County, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
Great ceremony. You just might have seen me there in the video just a second ago. We'd also certainly like to congratulate our media partner, WSGS Radio, for receiving the Community Lifeline Award. The radio station helped provide daily updates to its listeners after the flooding. And we also want to thank the Chamber for recognizing WYMT with the Best Service Award for Large Business. You can find a list of all the great winners on WYMT.com. The deadline for flood victims to register for FEMA help is tomorrow. Now, you can get help registering for FEMA by visiting one of the disaster recovery centers throughout the region. If you cannot make it to a recovery center, there are other ways to get help. You can visit FEMA's website or call the FEMA helpline at 800-621-3362. The flood 3 months ago tonight destroyed a lot of small businesses in the area, both structurally and economically. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox has more on how business accelerator Invest 606 is trying to get local entrepreneurs back on their feet.
9 finalists were announced as participants in this year's pitch contest created by Invest 606.
People in their communities see a business celebrated, and then they get on and want to share and say how amazing that business is. So it provides a forum for people to really celebrate these small businesses.
Annie's Frugal Finery in Whitesburg is one of the finalists, and they hope this competition allows them to expand.
We're going to look towards defining our branding and getting ourselves set up so that we can possibly open a second location.
Cold Country Candles in Hazard is another finalist, and they are wanting to at least build on to support they have raised for schools in the area through their products.
Last year we helped raise $7,000 for the schools doing our fundraiser program, and this year we hope to raise a lot more than that in this coming year.
The finalists will participate in 6 months of training and can win more than $30,000 in prizes. Invest 606 was created to support the local businesses that do so much for the community.
You know, they're the backbone of America. They're the ones who are always sponsoring the local teams, who are providing that necessary service or product that a community relies on.
While it is a competition, the goal is highlighting the best of Eastern Kentucky. In Hazard, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Invest 606 will be giving the businesses different services and trainings leading up to a final pitch contest next April in Corbin. Community Trust Bank hosted a luncheon today, dispersing checks from the money raised at this year's Pike County Bowl. Each of the Pike County high schools received a check for $4,747 raised during the annual WYMT Community Trust Bank event in August. Those at the luncheon say the money from the event is always a blessing to the schools. Though the event was once a way to put a spotlight on the area teams, Community Trust Bank officials say it has evolved into something much more in the past 37 years.
You know, it's not really the case now, but tradition has carried us forward, and it's a good opportunity for us to raise money and give back to the schools.
This year's event raised $28,483 for a total of nearly $998,000 since the inception of the bowl. Coaches are already looking forward to next year's fan favorite event, where organizers expect to top that $1 million fundraiser mark.
Well, we've been talking about it all evening long. High pressure's in place, and that's keeping the weather beautifully sunny as we head through the rest of this evening. A look outside, well, sunny until the sun goes down, obviously, then we'll be clear. Upper 50s already in Hazard. There's a look outside our front door here from WYMT. Not a cloud in the sky, but the sun's still shining bright on the foliage of the leaves kind of across downtown over there, so looking pretty nice. And there's the sun setting from our camera at Buffalo Mountain. A beautiful scene there as well there in southern Perry County. Middle and upper 60s throughout the region right now. A few middle 60s trying to sneak in. Middlesboro's at 63, as is Manchester and Somerset, and 64 in Jacksboro and Jonesville. Still a little cooler where they saw a few more clouds earlier in the Big Sandy. You see those clouds finally working on out of the region as we went through earlier today, and we're pretty good as high pressure stays in place. So for tonight, low 40s, mostly clear and rather chilly as we finish up this Thursday. Now, coming up in a few minutes, I'll have the latest on how much we warm up tomorrow, how it's looking for Friday night football, and when showers could return. Those are in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. We are learning more about an early morning school bus crash in the Lots Creek area of Perry County. Chief Deputy Jason Duff with the Perry County Sheriff's Office tells us the driver suffered some sort of medical emergency, causing him to drive off the road and into an embankment. He says the driver was taken to the hospital. The 10 students on board were not injured.
He had already picked up some children and was on his way up Lots Creek to pick up more children this morning. I wanted to make sure the kids were okay, make sure they felt safe, you know, and knew that everything was going to be okay.
The driver's name and condition is not known right now. Hundreds of high school juniors in Pike County spent the day getting Eastern Kentucky strong with a host of empowering women sessions. WYMT's Buddy Forbes was there.
I am strong. Now look at your neighbor and say, and so are you.
Women helping women.
Hundreds of girls meeting with one purpose.
A really special thing because it's not something that's normal in Pike County.
Eastern Kentucky Strong is all about bringing high school juniors from Pike County into the conversation about their futures.
One of the things that's most important about letting them know that they have a voice and that we need to hear their voice, not only in their schools, but in their communities.
Breaking down the barriers and changing the narrative.
Men don't have to deal with the same sort of situations that women do.
By celebrating the powerful women of yesterday who paved the way for the girls growing through today.
Many times they feel like they don't have much to contribute to the world around them.
The day, full of laughter, lessons, and love, was a new environment for many of the students who say they felt the power of packing in together.
They just need to kind of get out of their own way and stop listening to the external influences.
Like minds, hoping to expand minds.
They need to learn how to be strong and independent and confident because they're just as strong and as capable.
By being strong, standing strong, and living strong. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Those involved say this year's turnout was the best yet, and they are excited to see what the girls take away from the event. Governor Andy Beshear appointed longtime Martin County Dr. Lon Lafferty as the interim Martin County Judge Executive. Earlier this month, the current Judge Executive, Colby Kirk, announced his resignation to take over as the new President CEO for One East Kentucky. Lafferty will serve the remainder of that term, which ends in December.
I'm prepared to get to work on Friday to begin the process of moving Martin County forward. The job is big and there is much to do.
That's obviously from a Facebook page after he was appointed. Now, Lafferty is one of several write-in candidates on the ballot for the general election on November 8th. He also previously served in that role from 1999 to 2003. He's expected to be sworn in tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Well, coming up, we've got sunshine on the way for tomorrow, but changes on the way for the weekend. That breakdown is straight ahead. Plus,
the long-term flood recovery group in Knott County organized a vigil to honor those that died during the July flooding. We'll have a preview. And students in Syersville got to have some scary good fun today. More on the community's spooktacular celebration.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking stories as they happen, customized to the categories you choose.